Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today we are continuing my original Dungeons & Dragons solo campaign. We're using Chainmail for the combat system and Outdoor Survival for our Wilderness Hex Crawl. The higher level group in this campaign world, the Rangers of Arkfall, are going to go out and adventure today. So they've got a couple of decisions to make. They have some locations which they haven't finished, if you will, exploring, but there's also some really good maps available, and if the maps aren't bought up by the party members, they might disappear. So will they take a map? We'll see. Okay, so the Rangers, they've got a couple of options. They have their third level map that they still need to go back to. They have another map that they recovered when we did that kind of short quest. But before we do that, I think I want to bulk them up a little bit. And I can see here that we have 4 maps that we retrieved from the various mappers. And what I'm thinking is they would love to get this +2 shield and this +2 sword. Maybe one of these ones eventually, because those are bigger dungeons to clear. But what I'm thinking is they want to go after one of those two or both of those 2 items. So what I'm going to do here, though, first, here's the tricky part. Today is April 20th. On the 1st of the month, I check each map to see if they're still available. I roll a d6. On a 1, that means that the map has been sold, just, to a party outside the campaign. So here we go. First, we're going to go this one, that one, that one, that one. So first map, has it been sold? No. Second map for the +2 sword? No. Third map for the other big dungeon? No. Fourth map for the +2 shield? It has not. Okay. All 4 of these maps are available. And I think what we're going to do is, looking at these, they're fairly close together. I think. No, they're not. But you know what? They're both on this side of the map, but they're not like super far away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, yeah, I think so. 3 and 5. Okay. So, right, this one's 4 this way. This one's 3.5 this way. So I think I'm going to have them buy both of these 2 maps. They're not that expensive, 200 and 265. And we're going to send them out on an adventure basically to raid an ogre's lair and slay a hydra. So let's see how they do. Okay. One thing I almost forgot, since I'm already doing this. So we only have 2 maps left in circulation. So if you missed the mapper episode, just to summarize, these are master mappers. They are in charge of any number of mappers up to their level. So she could have up to 4. He could have up to 6. She's currently got 3. He only has 1. I'm going to roll a d6. On a 1 or a 2, they'll get more. So does Vani get any additional mappers? She does. She can only get 1 more. So she's going to have 1 more mapper under her care. Does Cedric get any more mappers? He does. Okay, he can have up to 6. So I'm going to roll a d6. 1. Okay, so he's going to pick up 1 new mapper, and she's going to pick up 1 new mapper. When we start running mappers again, I'll show you how that works. All right, it is the 20th of April, and the Rangers are about to hopefully pull off 2 maps, because they're both relatively small, and we're going to see what we can do. The reason why I'm sending them both out here is because if I were to send them out on 1, then to go back to camp, I would then have to wait until the actual calendar caught up, right? Because I'm doing 1 to 1 time. So since I'm want to leave them out in the field and I want to do this all today, I'm going to have them buy both maps and not go back. There is some risk here because the way I'm playing this, and I've been going back and forth on this, but the way I'm playing it this time anyways is that we're going strictly spells per adventure versus spells per day, which is sometimes people use. That is to say the characters are not carrying their spell books with them. So this is all they got for spells. If they do one of these and they're like pretty wiped out on spells, then I might change my mind. But the plan is to just go out and come back. So I've got my spells chosen based on what the idea is here. Okay, so let's get this set up first. So if you've not seen me do this before, each map is designated with a location. So this is 3.5 this way, 9.5 that way. So we'll do the top one first. 1.5 down, 4 over. So I use a ruler. I use these guys to mark them. So 1.5 down basically puts it in the second hex down. And 4 over. Okay. So that puts me right here. So 1 map is right there. That's this one. The Hydra. The second one is our Ogre. The Ogre layer is 3.5 over. Okay. So basically there. and this row of hexes, and it is 9.5 up. Okay, well, that's really close. So it's actually right there. Okay, and we're starting here. Our starting house is this one. That's actually super close. So it won't take us long to get there. As usual, the party takes with them 3 weeks worth of rations. They won't need it, I don't think, because we're mostly going over the clear, but they'll do it just to be safe. The party consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, plus there are 2 baggage handlers, if you will. They're just like, they guard the horses and stuff. They're first level fighters, plate mail armor, longbows, swords. They just defend the camp effectively. They don't really get involved in anything. They're just so that when I leave my horses outside the dungeon, I don't have to worry about a griffin eating them, hopefully. All right, so let's do this. So the way we do this is we're using the rules for outdoor travel, using outdoor survival. Now we are on riding horses, which gives us 10 movement a day. Depending on what type of terrain we're traveling on, that counts different amounts. Now the clear, which is what we're mostly going to travel on here, only counts as 1. So you can think of it as being able to move 10 hexes. But like for instance, the woods counts as 2. Everything's in the clear, that's probably where we're going to stay. So I think we'll go, you know what, let's roll a die. 1 through 3, we'll go ogres. 4 through 6, we'll go after the Hydra first. Okay, going after the Hydra first. All right, so here we go. Day 1, we're starting in the clear. So I'm just going to keep track of this with this. So it's 4:20 that we're leaving. After every 6 days, so on the 7th day, we have to rest. All right, I'm going to roll a die on... I only count it if it goes inside the box. So let's use the bigger box. On a roll of a 1, we're lost. Otherwise, there we go, so you can read it. Otherwise, we are good to go. 3, we're not lost. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we end in the clear. I'm going to roll again. In the clear on a 6, there is an encounter. No encounter. So we rest, and that's the end of the first day. Day 2, we're in the clear. Do we get lost? We do not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It only takes 9 to get there, so we're good to go. But because it took 9, I'm going to count that as 10. So we're going to, it's basically nighttime. We're not going to go in today. So let's roll for an encounter. We do not have one. So we're going to go into the dungeon on 4:22. Now, again, this is just simply a Hydra. So I'm going to say that it's just going to be a giant cave that a Hydra lives in. We're not going to worry about making it a full dungeon around a Hydra. I think that that's simple enough. And there's only a +2 sword there, so it's pretty basic. So we're just going to effectively say there's a huge cave where we know a Hydra lives, much like by the Golden Fleece, right? And we're going to go fight it. You know, we're going to try to sneak up on it, I think is what we're going to do. So we're going to try to approach the Hydra as quietly as possible, the cave of the Hydra that is, and try to get the jump on it. The plan here, oh, I guess I haven't shown the group because I'm going to leave this whole map out because I don't think it matters at this point. The group consists of a human magic user, level 5. She has a lightning bolt spell prepared. A halfling fighter who is going to be ready with a heavy crossbow to make their first round of attacks. A human cleric. She's going to kind of stay back a little bit. We're going to let the missile weapons go first, and then she'll charge in after. We have an elf magic user who's using a longbow. We have a elf magic user who's using a longbow. Oop. I'll put that back out after. And finally, we have a lot of elf magic users here with a longbow. So we've basically got, do it this way. These are missile troops. She's going to stay back for now. And this is going to shoot a spell. So here we go. This is how this is going to work. We're going to try to approach the Hydra lair and sneak up on it. Now, number one, I'm going to actually use the dragon rules for this, because dragons have rules to see if they're sleeping. And, you know, a Hydra is kind of like a dragon. So let's see, Hydra. Let me make sure there's no rule for it. Nope, doesn't say anything about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the rules for the dragon, but I will take the least likely dragon to be asleep. Actually, I won't take the least likely because I think that's gold dragon, which doesn't sleep at all. Only has 10%. Actually, let's do this the good old-fashioned way. Why am I making decisions? Let's let the dice make a decision. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of dragons. Oop, had a little goof up there. I do not know exactly where I stopped, so I'm just going to say, I'm going to start this over and say, we've got the Hydra. I want to give a chance that they can sneak up on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the dragon sleeping. It's not necessarily that the Hydra is asleep, but that we can kind of sneak up on it. So what this plan is going to be is the plan to set up an ambush to draw the Hydra out of its cave so we can blast it with missile weapons. That's like our plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll on here to see which dragon we're going to use a percentage of. 6. The worst possible one, gold dragon. Okay, so can we set up this ambush? We have a 10% chance to set up this ambush without the Hydra coming out, and then we'll use regular rules. Oh my god, 13. So no, we can't. It's pretty close, but no cigar. So we get there trying to be sneaky to set up this ambush, and what we're going to do is instead of saying we automatically set it, which is what that would have done, we're going to just roll for surprise. And because we're trying to be sneaky, so we're not thinking about it as much, this Hydra can also surprise us. So is either group surprised? We got the players are white die, the Hydra's are the black one. Okay, nobody is surprised. So we, okay. So the player characters are like, all right, we're going to kind of come in and set up this little ambush here. Then you'll make a noise and draw the Hydra out. And as we're kind of like getting into position, the Hydra comes out. So let's roll distance. Okay, it's only at 70 feet away when it comes out of the cave. So we're pretty close. So at this point, we're going to roll initiative. The Hydra doesn't have any kind of missile weapon. It's not actually a dragon, so it can't, breathe fire or anything. It's going to have to charge up on the player characters. So we're going to stick with our regular plan. Everybody with bows are going to try to shoot at it, and I'm going to allow pass-through fire with the lightning bolt spell, which is what I was planning on doing, because again, that's kind of like a missile weapon. So basically, on some level, it doesn't matter as long as the Hydra is moving at least half their distance to get to us. So what is their speed? The Hydra moves 12. Okay, so half would be 6. They got to move at least 6, which means that we're going to blast them just when they get close to us. They're only going to be 10 feet. They're going to be just outside of melee range when they get blasted by all these arrows, but then they're going to be able to finish their movement and come in for melee, to which the priest will be able to fight. So, since nobody was surprised, let's see if we can even do this. The problem with this group is that we got a lot of people with no armor. Okay, so plate mail, which is armored foot. Plate mail is armored foot. No armor. Chainmail, so that's light foot, heavy. So, okay, let's do this. Let's use an oracle. So normally you take you take the one that's the most. There's 3 light foot, so we're going to be treated as light foot, which this is not great for us. So let's hope we can kill this thing as it charges towards us. This could be either an easy fight or a hard fight. Now, what I don't know is how big this Hydra is, so let's make a roll. Hydra, 5 to 12 heads. So that's 5 to 12 heads, so that's a D8 plus 4. Okay, it has 9 heads. So let's take a look at Hydras. Again, I'm using my own system, Unchained, which is based on Chainmail, but cleaned up and adjusted to work for OD&D. So a Hydra defends as light horse, attacks as armored foot. Okay. Probably should be using, well, it doesn't matter. So I'll do it here. They defend, so there's 9 heads. It defends as light horse. it attacks as armored foot. So what that means is all of our characters shooting bows have to shoot first against light horse. Now, because this is pass-through fire, any damage we do, like any heads we kill of the Hydra, will be dead before it gets into melee. So even if it gets to us, it's good if we kill as many as possible. So we've got a heavy crossbow, then we have longbow, longbow, longbow. All right, so let's do longbow first. Longbow against light horse, 1 die per man, so that's per figure, 6 hits. So let's look at this. We've got 2 men plus 1. We're in short range, and they have a dex bonus. So 2 men plus 1 means they can add 1 to one of the dice. We're in short range, and they have a bonus for their dex. So they're rolling 4 dice. Any 6s hit, one of these dice gets a +1 on it. That's 1 hit. Okay, that's 1 head dead out of the 9. This character is exactly the same. 1 hit, because even adding a 1 to one of those doesn't do it. That's 2 heads are dead. Good. Next character, they also have the longbow. They're actually only 2 men, so they don't get the +1, but they are in short range, and they don't have a dex bonus, so they get 3 dice. And they don't get to add the +1, so that's no hits. And then finally, we have our heavy crossbow. This halfling with the heavy crossbow. Heavy crossbow. Heavy crossbow versus light horse, 1 die per man, 5 or 6 hits. They fight as 4 men. So 4 dice plus 1 more because they're in short range. And do they have a bonus for dex? They do not. Okay. So they get 5 dice, 5s and 6s hit. Ooh, okay, good. Well, good that there's 1 more. That's 3 heads dead. And then finally, this lightning bolt spell is going to go off. Now, the way lightning bolt works is it does 1d6 damage per hit die that you are. So or per level rather. She's 5th level, so it's going to go 5d6 damage. But as you notice, we're not really using hit points. Well, hit points do exist in this system. And the way it works is it's 1d6 per hit die of the creature. So, of course, it started with 9, but 3 heads are dead. So I'm going to roll 6 dice, and that's going to be the creature's hit points. And I think the way we're going to do this is, is that we're going to treat each one of these as a head. Okay? So we've got 1 head with 3 hit points, 1 with 4, 1 with 5, well, 2 with 4. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my lightning bolt damage. I think just for simplicity's sake and to make it super clear, I'm going to roll 1 die at a time. Normally I would just roll it all at once, but again, I'm trying to show things. So I'm going to use this die to differentiate. I'm going to use this die to differentiate. And again, I'm 5th level, so I'm going to roll this 5 times. And we're going to subtract hit points, and if it kills a head goes down. Did I roll? Is that enough heads? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's okay. Here we go. First die. 1, 5. Second roll. 6. Or is that a 1? 6. Third roll. 6 again. Nice. Fourth roll. Oh, only counts if it's inside. 3. Fifth roll. This is the last one. 3. That's not enough to kill. That would go down to 1, but it doesn't really matter because we're not going to be using hit points from this point on. But in the end, this thing only has 2 heads left. 3. So we wiped out 4 more heads, which means that when it gets to us, it has 2 heads attacking as armored foot. We are light foot. So armored foot versus light, 1 die per man, 4 through 6 hits. So it's going to roll 2 dice. Any 4, 5s, and 6s count as hits, and we'll figure out who they go against. I don't think it can actually kill anybody at this point. Okay. 5 would be 1 hit. Everybody here has at least 1 hit die. Doesn't kill anybody. And again, this is the melee to make this clear. The cleric still hasn't gone yet. They fight as 2 men. So they're using a mace, which is heavy foot versus light horse, 1 die per 2 men. So they're going to get 1 die. And if they hit with it, they'll take out one of the last remaining 2 heads. They do. All right, there's only 1 head left. And what this effectively means is this Hydra cannot kill the party. It can't do enough damage, even if it rolled a 6 on its die, to kill anybody who's here. So the fight's effectively over. So that was basically 1 round of combat. Okay. I mean, again, a Hydra, it was 9 hit dice, but there was only 1 of them, and this is a pretty powerful party. So we were able to slay the Hydra pretty easily. Now, I did use my lightning bolt spell. So I'm going to erase that. But that's the only spell we use so far. And because we did that combat, I'm just going to say that we're going to stay here. We're going to spend our time digging through the lair to find this +2 sword. Who is this going to? Well, the halfling already has a magical sword. They've got a magic shield. They have magic armor. They have a magic shield. Okay, so it could be one of these 3. I mean, they can't use it. And elves are the best with magic swords, really. So an elf should get the magic sword. I'm going to roll a d6. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Tromi is going to get the sword. +2. Okay. All right, there we go. Nice. Okay, recovered. Now, that was the 22nd. So on the 4/23, they're going to travel. But first, I need to check this night to see if there was an encounter, a random encounter. We're in the clear, so it's only on a 6. Oh, okay. They slay the Hydra. They're packing up their stuff, getting ready to go, feeling pretty good about what had happened there. And we are going to encounter something potentially. So let me move these guys off the field for a second. Hopefully they're not getting too... I think this was here, actually. Put them there. Okay, hopefully they're not getting 2. It was 3.5 over. 3.5 would be that. Yeah, so it'll be this one. All right, 9.5. Yep, that's where they were. Okay, so let's see what this encounter might be. So I got excited about the Hydra, and So we rolled an encounter in the clear. We're going to roll a d8 to see what kind of encounter it is. It is 6, which is men. Interesting. Okay. So let's go typical men. They're not in the desert or anything like that. 1. Oh, bandits. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So we've got some roving bandits coming through. So let's look at bandits. This could be less than ideal for us, but we're probably going to run from them. So there's from 30 to 300 bandits that can be encountered. So what I generally do for these, just to keep it simple, is I roll a d10 times 30. Oh, there's only 60 of them. So you might say, oh, that's good. I mean, only 60? The thing is that that's not great for us because a bigger group is easier for us to avoid because it's based on percentage. So that's only 20% of them. But with such a small group, for every 50 bandits, there'll be additional. For every 30 bandits, there'll be a fighting man. Okay, so they could have some non-first levels with them as well. We do have sleep spells if we need them. So let's do this. I'm not going to figure out everything about them yet. Let's just see if we can avoid them, because we'd rather not encounter bandits if we can avoid them. I'm going to say that they're very likely not all on horses, right? But let's use the Oracle for that. So I'm going to do the Matt Jackson Oracle. So what that basically is we're going to roll 2 dice. White is yes, black is no. But because it's unlikely, I'm going to roll 2 black dice. So whatever is the highest will be the answer. Okay. Are they all on horses? No, they are not. Okay. So I'm going to treat them as movement 12. So that means we're going to be faster than them because we're on horses. So our party is 8. So 4 through 9. there's 25% or less of them, which means we have a 30% chance to evade them. Now, we're twice as fast as them because we're on riding horses, so that gives us a plus 25%. So we have a 55% chance. But the thing is that first we have to see if anybody's surprised, because that will make a difference. So we're going to check this. Party is white, bandits are black. Is anybody surprised? Nobody's surprised. Okay. So we're going to try to evade them. We have a 55% chance to evade them, and that's what we're going to try to do. 32, we evade them. Okay, so I will check to see if this is their lair. There's a 15% chance. 17, so it's not their lair. So they're just passing through, and we see them, and we just kind of get out of the way. Okay, so now, I keep moving this. 423. Let's move again. So it's 423. We're heading to the ogres now, and when we get there, we'll figure that out. So, are we lost? On a 1, we're lost. We're not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is there an encounter? There is not. Okay. Next day, are we lost? We are not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gets us there. So, but again, it took the whole day, so I will roll for an encounter. And there's not one. So that was 23 and 24. So on 425, we're going to enter the dungeon. Okay, for this one, we're going to check the ogres. Now, whether or not it's an ogre, or it's a bunch of ogres, we don't know. So we're going to go to our monsters and treasure. And we're going to, because I don't think I rolled that already. Nope, I just wrote ogre lair. Okay. So there can be from 3 to 18 ogres. Just like ability scores. All right, and just like ability scores, that's pretty average. 9. No, that's fine. 9-headed Hydra, 9 ogres. Okay. So ogres are interesting. In the original Chainmail rules, they could have fallen under fantasy combat, but I removed them from there in my rules, and they're just considered regular monsters. Trolls are fantasy creatures, ogres are not. But they're still pretty tough. They're 4, maybe 4 plus 1 hit die. 4 plus 1 hit dice. So they attack and defend both as 4 plus 1 heavy foot. Okay. So I think for this, I mean, being that there's 9 of them, they're not just all living in a basic cave. So let's actually use the deck of many dungeons and do a bit of a dungeon crawl, knowing that we've got 9 ogres basically occupying this space. And we'll go from there. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, and I assume you have since you're still here, please do take a minute to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. Also, check the description below. You'll find a link to my Patreon, where you can support the channel, and a link to my Discord server, where you can join up over there and have a conversation with lots of great people. Check the description below for all that information. I'll talk to you soon.